Okay, everybody, welcome to week number 6 of Education for Better Work. This is the final class presentation for this self-reliance class for students and professionals here on LinkedIn. As we conclude this 6-week class, it is important to review some key definitions we have established for our education and for our career. So the first definition that we really honed in on was defining education. And we defined it as investing in knowledge and skills for greater leverage and opportunity to become self-reliant. We talked about how education gives us options that we would not have otherwise. Furthermore, education is not a two-dimensional structure. It is not only one thing. It's not formal education alone. We also have practical experience, which can serve as education. And we can also learn for ourselves. We can self-educate. Next was leverage. We defined it as the difference between inputs and outputs in a system, or in other words, a single effort to produce high return on investment outcomes. So, for example, by increasing your level of education, you have effectively performed or gained more leverage over the opportunities that you will have in your life. Because you know more, you can do more. Therefore, you can make those single efforts with yourself as the force producer, if you will, and then you can get higher return on investment outcomes, such as higher wages and greater opportunities through selling your own services or products. Finally, learning, defined as the acquisition of skills and the ability to translate education into value, specifically value for paying employers and clients. So we've talked about over the past 5 weeks, what we've talked about is knowing the options available to you and how to seize opportunities and leverage your experience and skills to succeed in your professional development. But I think it's important to define success, which is something that I've spent the last 2 years helping leaders and professionals learn. I'm going to do something that I rarely do, but it helps people get this concept. I'm going to use a sports analogy. In sports, if you asked what success means, someone might say that success is having more points on the scoreboard than the other team at the end of the game. But someone might say, no, it's about winning the championship. Now, that person has more of a strategic, long-term definition of what success is, right? As opposed to the first person who's really only concerned about the individual or the single game in an entire season. A more holistic approach might be to consider each successful play over the course of the entire season, maybe for one team, right? How quickly the team recovered from failure and even the team dynamics. And I would encourage you to consider the latter approach for your education and career development. Appreciate the small wins that culminate in a successful life in business and education. At the end of the day, success in education is different from success in your career, and success professionally is not more important than success in your personal and family life. Now, this quote here, this success is going to look different to different people. Succeeding in your education could be defined as studying hard and earning your degree. But being successful in that way doesn't necessarily get you a job. Like we've discussed, you have to qualify for more than only the educational requirements. But remember that we have set a definition for education, which is defined as investing in knowledge and skills for greater leverage and opportunity to become self-reliant. Remember also that merely being exposed to educational resources is not the same as learning. So you have to translate your education into the ability to produce results, as well as successfully networking and marketing yourself. In the admirable pursuit of success, it's important to consider the effort we are making to achieve success. Effort is the baseline principle for achieving success in any endeavor. However, as we mentioned in week 4, certain activities, while including effort, make more of a difference than others. Now, this quote that we have seen it numerous times over the course of our class, success by the yard is hard, success by the inch is a cinch. But I want to ask you, if you were in a vehicle traveling down the road, would you be measuring distance in inches and yards? No, you would be using greater measurements of distance. Like in my part of the world, it would be miles. Other places may be kilometers. We do this because the opportunity to travel further and faster is inherent in riding in a vehicle. This takes us to our third and final learning strategy. It's to measure success with a bigger measuring stick as we advance in our education and our careers. You should always be setting new goals and stretching yourself to provide greater demand for you to accomplish more with the time you have. Remember that if you're only talking about what you did yesterday, you mustn't be doing much today. And since we are concerned in this class about investing our time wisely in our education, the best way to measure success is to find out how much time it takes to achieve it. Now, I want you to think about this statement: quality over quantity. Now, most people understand this as quality should be prioritized over quantity. Like you should care more about doing something really well than doing a lot of things not so well. Now, in terms of perhaps a craftsman or even the work that you perform, that might be true. But that's not how education and learning works. We make a lot of mistakes while we learn. And that's a good thing, as long as we are learning from those mistakes. So instead, look at this statement like a math problem: quality divided by quantity. How much time, so what quantity of time is required for the quality outcome you are trying to achieve? The example may be, for education, a 4-year degree for a job that pays similar or equivalent to something that you could do without a degree. Now, that's a lot of time to put into something, and the quality of the outcome is no greater than what you could have done in less time. Now, if it's a specific career or a specific job role that requires that training, perhaps looking at some sort of condensed boot camp or program that you can learn the skills needed to get the job immediately or within a very short amount of time. We see these in 12-week boot camps. We see them in postgraduate programs as well. Things that focus on very specific job roles and job duties. And the idea is to get someone from the starting line to the finish line very quickly. And that quality of outcome is more assured. So this week's homework is to ensure that you've finished all your weekly assignments, and most importantly, that you have completed your skill journal. Now, it's ideal that you get at least 20 hours of study recorded in your journal. When that is finished, you can confidently say that you have the time committed to become proficient at whatever skill you set out to learn. Something about that 20 hours is very important. And we've talked about that previously in the class. And yes, this is the final class presentation for our Education for Better Work class. We have a similar structure self-reliance class that you can also look for, which is Finding a Better Job. It is supposed to be taken in order. So we have Education for Better Work here, and then we have Finding a Better Job, which follows next. We talk about the more strategic, or rather, I would actually say it's more tactical elements of job hunting and preparing for either a transition into a better paying job or into the job that you really want. I would just remind you of the 30 commitments that I've asked you to make, and hopefully you've kept them throughout the course of this class. And the first is, don't sell yourself short, to believe in yourself. As you have done all of these things, if you've done more than just show up to the weekly presentations or watch the recordings, if you've gone and completed the assignments, you are better prepared to choose your education and succeed in your education. And furthermore, prepare yourself for the workforce, the workplace. In as much as you kept the second commitment, which is honestly evaluate your efforts. That's something that I hope you've done throughout this entire class. And then I hope that you will take the time to honestly evaluate my efforts as your coach, as I have guided you through this 6-week class. As always, I ask you to take the time to give me some feedback. Send that to me through email or on LinkedIn, or you can message me directly. But just let me know the things that really stood out to you, the things that were of worth, and maybe the things that could probably have been done without. And that way I can continue to improve this course for future terms. Now, our final shameless plug for the Grounded Leader Academy. The Grounded Leader Academy is an organization that focuses on educating, ensuring job placement while preparing future leaders. What we hope is that we can provide these self-reliance classes and similar professional development programs for young persons, as well as those who want to, improve their career and professional situations. And that way, when you find yourself in that place that you want to be, when you find yourself in that job that you feel that you can grow in, you come back and you contact us for our one-on-one coaching and mentorship programs. We help individuals really focus on skills that relate to business management and leadership. We help them accelerate the acquisition of those skills, oftentimes what people consider soft skills, but we use a practical coursework tailored to their individual job interests, their career goals, as well as their industry. And we not only prepare them to excel in the role that they're in, but also prepare for that next step in their career, which may be finding a better opportunity somewhere else. We talk so much more about that in Finding a Better Job, which is the next class after this one. So I do appreciate all of you who have made it to the end of this class. I wish you luck. Please feel free to reach out to me again by email or on LinkedIn. That way I can continue to serve you and extend long-term support to you in your career. And that concludes our class.